Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Advent of Code. We're going to be doing day 3 today, 2023, of course. And as I usually do before I start the next day, I have some stuff to review about the previous day, some changes I made in between the last thing you saw and the current state of things. You know, it's weird. It's only just occurred to me today after doing this for years. Maybe I noticed this at some point, but like forgot about it. My email address is just like right there. I don't know. I guess if you're watching this video, you can email me if you want, but like don't do it unless you have a reason, I guess. I don't know. My email address is all over the internet. Of course, you could find it if you wanted to. Anyway, so if we look at git log, there's one diff that I don't. I mean, we can just look at git show, right? I was using Haskell 2010, which I think is the default that Stack New produces. But I was using Stack New for my own template, which I copied from some previous years. So this template was generated probably before GHC 2021 was standardized anyway. So I don't know what Stack does today. But Haskell 2010 is not the most modern, like, standard-ish Haskell. It's the most modern, like, actual Haskell standard. GHC 2021 is specifically GHC extensions, right? And changes, so as the name implies. But for a long time, GHC has been the only real mainstream Haskell compiler, and so it's almost standard. And it includes, some language extensions that are judged to be useful and harmless, that are turned on by default. And a few of them I would have wanted. So if we scroll, I turned it on in my template and then in every project as well. But somewhere in here, shouldn't there be... There it is. A one-line diff where I don't have to include derived functor anymore because that's in Haskell or GHC 2021. So that's nice. But I also wanted to look over some other changes I made. When I was writing this yesterday's problem, I thought, okay, I'll need space written several times because several spaces in the input format. And so I defined space as a parser, and it turns out I only used it once, so I inlined it. It occurred to me I could even, like, not import sim if I wanted, because this is my only usage of the sim constructor, I guess you would call it, the sim function, generally. I could just use string and then a single character string containing a space. You could always do that. You never need sim, but when you want to specifically match a single character, it's kind of nice for sim to guarantee you don't accidentally match more than one. The other thing, well, there's several things, as I said, that I made a change. I think I knew this a little bit ago, but I forgot, or I didn't include it in my... it just wasn't in my Haskell template yet because Topaz, the guy who runs Advent of Code, asks that players, feel free to publish your solutions, of course. Please don't publish your inputs. So maybe I obeyed this request last year, but I was doing it in, like, I wasn't using this setup, and so I was using Kotlin. And so anyway, this wasn't in my git ignore, so I put input in my git ignore and uncommitted day one's input. So if you're very handy with a screen grab, you could copy my input, but of course it's still in the git history. It would be much simpler if you were going to be such a bad person as to go download it all. You could just get it from the git repo. I did not go the trouble of scrubbing it from history. I also noticed, the same thing that I think is bad, and I did it again here. Map and filter. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's fine. But it was kind of like, I don't know, I needed this little helper function called gid to get the ID of a game just to pass it to map. And like I had two partial pattern matches on game because I was using this map combined with filter, where the filter cares about the second half and the map cares about the first half. Instead, I replace it with a map maybe where I do a full destructure and I don't need this little helper anymore, which I think is better. And this... Yeah, this I still did all this off camera, I think. I must have done. So this helper function was basically just flip of M singleton, so I inlined that. And I realized my type for input was really in a weird place. So I moved it. And now... Oh yeah, also, right, I guess HLint, this was after I was off camera. HLint pointed out I had, map F composed with map G, just like I did in day one, and so I fixed it. And now I might really be done. I don't know if I did this range and lining on camera or off, but now we're really done. Okay, so let's go see what the deal is with day 3. Gear ratios. You and the elf eventually reach a gondola lift station. He says the gondola lift will take you up to the water source, but this is as far as he can bring you. You go inside. It doesn't take long to find the gondolas, but there seems to be a problem. They're not moving. Ah! You turn around to see a slightly greasy elf with a wrench and a look of surprise. Sorry, I wasn't expecting anyone. The gondola lift isn't working right now. It'll still be a while before I can fix it. You offer to help. The engineer explains that an engine part seems to be missing from the engine, but nobody can figure out which one. An engine part is missing, but you can't figure out which one. Okay, if you say so. If you can add up all the part numbers in the engine schematic, it should be easy to work out which part is missing. The engine schematic, your puzzle input, consists of a visual representation of the engine. There are lots of numbers and symbols you don't really understand, but apparently any number adjacent to a symbol, even diagonally, is a part number and should be included in your sum. Dot is not a symbol. Okay. In this schematic, 2 numbers are not part numbers because they're not adjacent to a symbol. Okay. That is interesting. So we have to parse and understand a 2-dimensional grid. And we have to know, like, where... So we could construct... Obviously, we could turn this into a 2-dimensional array with like 4, 6, 7 here, and then we could look at the things, like find the digits, and like if they're next to each other, then combine them into one big thing, and like. But what exactly is? It's pretty unpleasant, though, to do that, right? Because then you have, like... What I think would be better... would be, like... To build, like, a set of some kind where not a set exactly. I want the number 467 decorated with some information. That information being, I think, the coordinates in the grid that contain this number. Or maybe the coordinates in the grid that are adjacent to this number. So that instead of listing these three, we would list this, 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 and this. And then we could, for each such decorated number that we store, we could look through the look into a separate set, let's say, of coordinates which contain different, a different symbol, and see if there's an overlap. Right? And if any of those coordinates that are adjacent to our number are present in the set of symbols, then the number is included, and otherwise it's not. This is tough for a day 3, I think. I mean, that's kind of the way of things, right? As Advent of Code gets bigger and bigger, he's kind of like used up the easy ideas. And also the people doing it are more experienced and want bigger challenges. This is not like the hardest problem in the world, obviously, but it's not as easy as, day 3 in 2015 was. The problem is, I worry a little bit about overfitting my data structure to the requests of part 1. Which is just like, all I care about is where the symbols are that are adjacent. I assume in part 2, we're going to care about the difference between the symbols or something, right? So instead of just storing a set of coordinates that are symbols, we could store a map from coordinate to the symbol that is there. And then look, for part 1, we'll just look up, is there an entry at that position? And for part 2, we'll do something with the symbol that's there. But I'm still not... The way to parse this kind of sucks, doesn't it? Well, maybe not. Maybe we can do kind of like a tokenizing approach, where we parse each line into a list of, a number, and it'll have a magnitude and, let's say, a length. Or maybe every token should have a length, right? Well, it doesn't make sense for anything but numbers, really. So we could save the length of the number. I don't know. It would just be nice if everything had a length, I think. So, for reading row 1 here, we could produce a list. That list being, from indices 0 to 2, there's the number 467. From indices 3 to 4, there are periods. Or alternatively, at index 3, there's a period. At index 4, there's a period. And so on. Then we could do another pass over that list to combine it with the row number that we'll know because we're mapping over the rows, or all the lines, and then kind of scan over the list that we produced for this row to get to get the data structure I was talking about before, where for we'll have a number and also like all the positions it's occupying. Yeah, I guess. I mean, buckle up. I feel like this is going to take me a while. Is there something better I should be doing here? It doesn't seem like there's anything super smart. But I think, for one thing, I do not want to use a two-dimensional array here. I think it is not a good representation for this data. This idea of having numbers that know where they live and then searching their neighborhood for symbols in a separate data structure that tells us where symbols are seems like it makes more sense to me. So what do they say a symbol is? It's anything but a period or a digit? They don't say, just numbers and symbols. Okay, fine. So let's go to day 3. Give me my input, please. Okay, so it's not actually that many rows. Oh, I called head. I probably got about 10 rows. Yeah, okay, it's 140 rows. 140 by 140. Sure. All right. Where am I in Emacs here? Day 3 source. LSP header. Yeah, breadcrumbs off, please. Oh yeah, and it just popped up a thing to remind me what weird keystroke that's assigned to. Control / TB. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Who's gonna remember that shit? Anyway, what are some data types we're gonna want? Well, we're gonna want, you know, measured objects, things that have a length. Let's say lengthy. A lengthy A is lengthy int and A. Probably don't need anything but show here. But I guess no, of course we want functor at least, right? Okay. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to use functor, but it's free to derive. It costs the computer some time. It doesn't cost me much, and functor usually ends up being useful somehow. So this is like a token in a way. I guess I want also like positioned A is a, let's call it located. Oh, I don't know. I like measured better than lengthy. I think I actually don't want a pair of ints, do I? Let's, okay. Do I want a new type for like replacing int and saying it's an index or something? Really, it shouldn't even be int. It should be word8 or something, right? It should be positive. But word has this property that it wraps around when you said like 0 minus 1 would be 255, which isn't really semantically correct. We'll just use int. It's supposed to be the most efficient type, right? One thing I do want though is data coordinate. Maybe let's call it coord. Is a coord of 2 ints. Putting the underscores here for 2 reasons. One, well, that's basically the same reason twice. I don't want it to shadow anything named X or Y, but I sort of want it to have a name. And maybe if you end up using lenses, then this is definitely the way you're supposed to do it, because it wants to create things named X and Y that are lenses instead of field accessors, but also just for locals. Anyway, so located has a coordinate A, but it doesn't. See, that's the trick. It was a trick. It was a trap. I trapped you. Why are you highlighting all this? I can't read this shit. I actually want a set of coordinates that this thing is at. So I believe part of GHC 2021 is that you don't have to write qualified first anymore. You're allowed to write it after, which is kind of nicer. So if I want a set of coordinates that a thing lives at, that's kind of like my dream. And to find out if something is adjacent, I mean, there are more efficient ways to do this. But one thing you could do is iterate over the set of coordinates that it has, and then for each such coordinate, look in all 8 of the adjacent cells. Combine that into one big set, and then like that's your set of neighbors. You're going to be doing like some wasted work there, but I think it's easier than actually organizing things properly. So I don't know, that seems kind of nice. So let's see, maybe let's just before I do any, let's just like start writing things we know that are true, and eventually something good will happen to us, right? Let's write neighbors, takes a coord and returns a set of coordinates. Neighbors of coord X and Y. See, isn't it nice already that I didn't give these the name X and Y? Is, let's say do. I don't like list comprehensions very much. Oh. From list of do. I just use monad comprehensions when I want to do list comprehensions. It's the same thing. But this way you get to write things in a different order, and it's the order that I'm used to. Where you declare something before you use it instead of using it and then afterwards saying, by the way, this is what it was. So let's say dx comes from -1 to 1. dy comes from -1 to 1 again. And then we say pure of coord x plus. Should our coordinates be monoids? Like, you could do it. You could have a coordinate add. No, that doesn't make any. I mean, yeah, you could. They can't be applicative. Because they're not. There's no type variable. They could be a monoid, but I don't know. I don't think it's that great. X plus dx, y plus dy. So this, let's go ahead and see if this all compiles so far. Nope. Gonna try to show coordinate. You got me? We can't... We said located things should be showable, but they have a coordinate, and so coordinates need to be showable. No instance for ord coord. Good point. We need that too. And of course, eq as well. Cool. So that all compiles. And we said, what are the neighbors of coord 0, 0? It would say all the stuff we expect. Now, it also says that 0, 0 is itself a coordinate. And so one thing I've done in the past to avoid that problem is to actually write like 0, 1, minus 1, 0, 1, minus 1 here instead of, minus 1, 0, 1. And then you can just drop the first one, which will be 0, 0. Here, I'm sort of planning to have duplicates anyway, and so I'm going to let a point be a neighbor of itself, and that'll just be fine. That's how we're defining neighbors today. And so now we can try neighborhood. I mean, I guess foldable. I don't know. Does this make any sense? It seems like kind of overkill, but I think we might as well be general here. An f of coord to a set of coordinates, right? Like, we don't really need the input to be a set of coordinates, although we plan for it to be so in practice. It just needs to be something foldable, something that we can say, oh, give me all the coordinates you have, and I'll map something over them. What's the type of map? Yeah, of course. That makes sense. I thought it was one of those things that had been turned into taking a foldable of inputs or a functor or something, but it isn't. Actually, what does foldable include, please? A lot of things. Okay. We have fold. Wait, is fold just the same as mconcat? Mconcat is only for lists, I see. So fold map, yeah, sure. Is that what I want? I think I do, yeah? Because a set should be a monoid. Yeah. Let's just check real quick. Yes. A set is a monoid. So I think we can actually just say something really simple. We may not even bother with this function now. But isn't neighborhood just fold map neighbors? Yeah. Okay, well that's great. So now we can say, for example, what is the neighborhood of coord 0, 0 and coord 0, 1? And, well, one thing we could do, I suppose, is ask, what is the length of that? What should we expect it to be, right? There are two adjacent things. It's 2 by 1, so it should increase in size to 2 by 3, or 3 by 2, I guess. So there should be... Can it really only be 6 things? No. Because it grows by 2 in each dimension. So it goes from being 2 by 1 to being 4 by 3. There should be 12 things? Yes. Okay, so we believe now we've implemented neighborhood correctly. And frankly, its type signature is longer than the definition. The name is almost longer than the definition, so we're just going to use fold map neighbors when we want it. I don't know. It's kind of useful, right? Also, a set is foldable, right? Yes. Cool. That's what I wanted. So now we can take a set of coordinates and ask, what are all the coordinates that are next to at least one of you? And then we'll... Right. The reason we want neighborhood is that we want to also not include the set, the coordinate itself. Although, I mean, that's not really necessary, right? Because we're going to be looking in... I mean, right? Like, when I say, oh, I know I have number 12 at, like, 0, 0, and 0, 1. Are there any symbols in its neighborhood? And, like, if it looks at 0, 0, and 0, 1, it won't find any symbols there. Because there are numbers there, right? So, like, that's fine. So I don't really need to bother with that. Okay. So I don't know. It's just nice to have this here. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe I'll delete it eventually. Felt cute, might delete later. So that's a thing. And I guess we want... I mean... It's almost like overkill even to use textdirect explicative here, let alone something like parsec. But I still think it's nice. We want RE, we want sim, I think we want psim. Oh, don't I want like msim? No, I think psim is fine. And we want a way to match stuff. I think this ended up being pretty much all I needed last time. And the one other thing I think I still want again is decimal. Maybe I'll take digit as well. I don't know. I think if I'm going to match many digit myself to track length, I don't really need decimal. Maybe we'll work at a slightly lower level. The annoying thing is that digit is just like psim is digit. So like there's really... I'm not getting much out of importing this, but oh well. And once again, we're going to find a type parser of A is an RE of char and A, because we're parsing strings. And then I want to write some parsers. I think I want... like a function that takes a description of a token as input and produces a parser for that token as output. Right? Sort of. I don't know. Seems stupid. Well, let's just number the parser for measured. Well, no. Let's. Can I? This is the function I sort of want. It takes measured, takes a function from string to a, and no. What's in text regex applicative? Is there something useful here for like? Not really. Yeah. So I guess what I need is like it takes a string to bool, or a char to bool, which is the function saying whether something can become part of the input. Can be processed. And it also takes a function from string to a, and then it produces a parser for measured a's. I'm a little skeptical on this. So the idea, I think, would be measured of predicate and function is the function that I'm thinking of sum? Well, if I just look up, I sum, like it'll tell me it doesn't exist, obviously, because I have to import it. But it's in applicative because it's an alternative function. Yeah, sum is one or more of something, and many is zero or more. Okay, so if I want I may well want more than sum. Like a sum I'll probably want again in a minute. It's let's see. Oh, let's use applicative do for a change. It's too complicated for me to figure out how to write this applicatively. I'll just write it monadically and have you translate it. Region is sum psim of p. I did say I needed psim, right? Yes, okay. So at least one symbol matching the predicate p. Then we're going to return pure. I know this is just an fmap, but it was confusing. Pure of measured length region and f of the region itself. So this is what I have in mind. Does this make any sense? First of all, does it all still type check? Yes. So if I were to say equal tilde of measured, I don't know, equals C, identity, apply that to CCCCC. It would say, yep, there's 5 of them, and it matched CCCCC. And if I did this, it would say no. Yeah, that looks right to me. So in this way, I can now say a number is a parser for measured int. And a number is just measured is digit. No, I guess I don't need digit from here, actually. Measured is digit read, I think. And now I can say measure or equal number of, f. It'll say no. I say 234. It'll say, yeah, 3 digits long. Number's 234. Great. And really, that's almost the only thing I need measured for, but I kind of want to measure how many spaces there are and like symbols, right? Ooh, except except that for symbols, I only want to match one of them, right? So, should I pass in some psim of p instead of just p as an argument? I think that's okay. The problem with that, I think, is that I need measured to know the length of the thing that was returned, right? And so it needs to know that it's getting out a list it can call length of, right? Well, actually, wouldn't it be fine if... No, if it parsed a single symbol, if it parsed 2 adjacent symbols as like one large symbol, I think I would have a bad time. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it, but... Oh my god, it's 43 minutes. I've gotten fucking nowhere. Well, maybe it would be okay if I returned a grouping of the two, and then the post-processing step that I'm planning, I can just split them into 2 things, or n things. So like I can for example say, blank is a parser for measured nothing, and blank is measured must be dot and just like ignore the value that was there and return nothing. Like I could do that, and then I'd have a thing that counts out spaces, gives me a token, says here's a token that was 2 spaces long, 2 blanks long, or whatever, right? But the same idea doesn't make sense for matching symbols, which are supposed to be... I mean, why doesn't it? Because I need to have each of them separately. Well, we'll just parse them together and see if we can fix it in post. We'll even suggestively name it as singular. Parser for measured char, I guess. Symbol is measured. Well, I need it to be not... not composed with lift a... or... equal dot is digit. This is a little bit tacky, I guess. Actually, this is a measured string, I guess. Is that type check, do you think? Yes. Oh, God, I'm so smart. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel very happy with that. So if I say equal symbol of, like, Starbang, it says, yeah, there's a symbol. It's 2 characters long. So what the hell is this accursed collection of symbols? So this is the same trick I do, like, all the time of kind of making a function's parameter implicit, where I say, okay, you're going to get an argument, you're going to return a function, and when that function, function should call equal dot and is digit, both on its input, and then combine the results by calling or. So we'll get a function that tells you whether it's either dot or a digit, and then we want not that function, we want its inverse. So, like, those are the 3 tokenizers that I think I want. Right? And so a line is a... Oh, no. I can't just have the line be a parser for a list of measured objects, because int is a different type from unit is a different type from string. Okay, well, I mean, fair enough. I guess I need a new data type. Data token is tokint of int, or toke blank, or toke sim of string, because again we're treating them as... oh, I hate it. No, I refuse. Of course, what I can do is, having used this awkward measured thing... I don't know, why am I doing this? Just don't use measured. Measured is a helper that's okay for this and sucks for this. Okay, token sim is a char. I refuse to compromise. I compromise all the time, of course. I write lots of bad stuff. But on this this hill I might die on. We'll see. So all of these then are parsers for tokens. And I'm just going to actually say number, blank, and symbol are all going to share a type signature. Really, they don't even need names. I can just put them... yeah, maybe I just won't even give them a name. I don't know. Yeah, this is so stupid. I could just say it's measured 1 mapped over psim of that. There you go, right? Oh, measured 1 composed with toxim. Right? That makes sense. Anybody else think that makes sense? You don't. Unexpected type token in the data declaration for plus? Oh, I meant to say equals, not plus. Oh, and of course I haven't finished. Yeah. So this is int composed with read blank. Yeah, I mean, that's not so bad, right? And now I can say equal symbol this, and it'll say, no, that's not a symbol. That? Yeah, that's a symbol, and it's length 1, like all symbols are. Okay. That feels better. And so then we can say, for example, line is a parser for list of measured token. And line is really just many a sum of number blank symbol, right? Haven't imported many. Okay, sure. Now if we were to say equal line of like 1, 2, 3, ... star, bang, 56, ... we would say, oh yeah, that's a line, all right. It's got, 3 characters taken up by an integer, 2 characters taken up by a blank, 2 symbols next to each other, each of length 1, and then a 56 and 1 more blank. So perfect. This is sort of what I wanted from my parser for lines, finally. And then we can write a function that folds over this, I guess. Yeah. It's... I don't know. It's a fold that maintains an awful lot of state variables, right? It has to maintain both like the index it's working on and also a set of where numbers are and a set of where symbols are, right? I mean, it kind of feels like a fold M in the state monad, where we're just folding over this and keeping track of our int, which is our current position, and then when we encounter a token that's meaningful, we send it out. It doesn't even have to be in state. It can be in writer. That's what I meant. Because we never have to look. Yeah. We never have to look at the set of number positions or symbol positions. And I guess it'll be a map, right? Not a set. Right? I guess. Yeah. So we want to be able to look things up by their position and then find out more details about the symbol that's there. We don't want to have to look them up by, their position and value. So I think that makes some sense. So let's import also control monad trans writer. I mean, control monad writer might be fine, but I know I have transformers in my dependencies. And I want writer and tell. Those might be the only things I need. I want import control monad fold m with a lowercase f, please. So first of all, did I mess anything up in these imports? No, those exist. Suggest that writer has constructors or class methods, but it has none. Interesting. Okay, so I guess then my next question would be, what the heck is in control monad trans? I assume writer is just like a type alias over something else is the point? But what are the functions I'm supposed to be using? Run writer t. Okay, writer and run writer. Okay, sure. So it's a. Okay, fine. Oh, and it gives you back. Okay. And actually, do I need run writer? I don't care about the value at the end, do I? I just care about the stuff that was written. I think so. I think I just need exec writer. Oh, but maps aren't monoids, are they? We looked at that last time. Or wait, are they? I've forgotten already. I'm looking now. I can show you. You guys can watch me look. They're functors. They're monoids. Okay, and how do they behave? I assume they just overwrite. Unions, yes. They use union. And what does unions do? Oh, excuse me. So 5. Okay, how does union bias? Left biased union. It prefers T1 when there are duplicates. Interesting. I would have guessed right biased, but okay. It doesn't matter because I don't expect there to be any duplicates. Okay. I think that should work. So let's get data map as well, please. Why do I have a blank line here? I don't know. I think those all should go together. So I think my input, well, we probably want a new type that is like a set of numbers and a map of symbols, kind of, right? So like the hard function that I want to put off writing as long as I can is a function of this type. We'll call it collate or something. It's a function that takes in a list of measured tokens and produces like a set of located ints and a map from coord to symbol. You know what? I want a new type for symbols here. That seems important. New type symbol is symbol of char deriving, I don't know, show e coord. Those are all probably useful enough. And here, symbol so like this function seems like it's not going to be super easy to write. But I think it's like a nested foldem in the writer monad, kind of. I don't know. Let's try writing it. Let's see. It's exec writer of go, where go is, nothing. Now, please tell me what type this should have. The good news is it's not a type error yet. Go. Why are you just saying Go should have any type at all? Can't you infer that? Oh, right. I want... foldem go s empty. Oh. Empty? Yeah, that should work. Mempty on a pair should be mempty in the left and mempty in the right, and those are both the empty things. Empty set and empty map are mempty. So, okay, this time it looks like there's multiple errors. Mempty? Yeah, fair enough. No, this is for ord of located int. Do I have located ints somewhere? Where are those? It's right here. Yes, a set of located ints. Okay, yeah, you got me. I guess those should be ordered if we want to put them into a set. You can't figure out what, but like, why not? Shouldn't you be able to infer that it's equal to... Oh. I don't have to say mempty. I see. Because I'm specifying the accumulator of the foldem loop, the value contained in the monad, whereas what I want is for the thing I'm writing, the context or the effect of the monad to be empty. But that's just assumed because we're using writer. Okay. So I have to figure out what I'm... Okay. So I should be folding over... like... Well, do I even care about... Do I need fold M? I mean, yeah. I guess at the outer level I can just use 4 and zip each line with the list of integers. And then inside I can fold over the current position in the line, I guess. Okay, so what am I'm not folding over anything. No. Map M. Oh, what it traverse, I guess? Ignoring the value, I just want the state. Traverse go zip starting with 0? Does that make any sense? Oh, I have to import traverse. Would it be here? No. Where is traverse? Probably data.traversable, huh? Searching the wrong thing. It's in data.foldable, okay. Okay, we're down to just one type error, and that type error is that I put a placeholder in there for you to tell me what type I should have. P is a type variable, but I wish you would tell me what the type of P was. Like, you should be able to infer some things about this from how I'm using it, right? It should be a function or an action taking, like, row y row like this, like, right? Shouldn't you have told me that this was part of the yeah, there's something I don't understand about type totals. They used to be pretty useful for me, and they just, like, sometimes don't give me anything. Now it's just saying, oh, P is a rigid type variable. It has type P. Like, the inferred type of Go is it takes a pair and returns P. Okay, this is fair, actually. Sort of? No, because it isn't just any old P. It has to be, like, a writer of something. Right? That's what sort of bugs me. Will you tell me what type this has? No, of course not. And so I'm left sort of in the dark with the type system not helping me in a way I think it's supposed to be able to help me. This should be an action in the writer monad. And, you know, I think I know some things about what I want that action to be, but also I think Haskell should be willing to tell me about it, is fold M. I want to call it go again. Loop? Oh, it's so gross. Label? Collate? Just give me anything relating to putting marks on paper, please. Alright, loop. And this time, I do want to start at 0. That's the current position. I think. And it should be folding over row, the list of measured tokens. And I do need an inner where because I want to refer to the enclosing y. So loop, it's going to just tell me it's a rigid type variable, like some stupid shit, right? Yeah, of course. It's just type P. The inferred type of loop is P. But it's not, right? It's an action in the writer monad. I mean, I don't know. So far, I haven't seen any type errors, right? It's just like, yeah, you haven't finished writing your program yet, idiot. No, this one actually is an error. I need to import fold m underscore. Sure. I don't think I want fold m, actually. Oh, well, that might actually explain why it wasn't giving me a useful type. Nope, it still says it's type P. Okay. So, constraints include foldable T, monad M. Where are T and M mentioned? It's figured out the type that Go has. Some monad. So I'm taking the list of measured tokens. I'm zipping with 0. So I have kind of a pair of things. I'm traversing with go, which means I'm doing a monadic action for each item in the list. And then I'm calling exec writer on that. I don't know, this all still makes sense to me. I just don't understand why I can't ever get help from the type tools extension like I used to. I must be doing something wrong. I can't imagine they changed it to be useless. Loop. It couldn't even tell me that loop is a function, actually, which should be the most obvious thing. Because loop should have... What is the type of fold M, please? It doesn't know because I... Okay. Okay. Loop is undefined. Oh god! And because the function, the file isn't finished, I can't use my imports in GHCI. So it takes the function is first, of course, and it takes the accumulator first, and then the value it's folding over. Okay. Loop of x, and then tokens. No. Single token. We're folding over the list of measured tokens. So in fact, measured with token. There we go. Is case token of if it's, what do they call it? Blank? Toke blank, do nothing. Ah, hang on, not pure nothing. Pure, we have to do something, which is pure x plus width. Actually, let's, no, I will do pure nothing here. But I'll return after this x plus width somewhere. Well, let's just pure x prime, and we'll have, we'll define x prime separately. Toke sim of s will be to tell mempty and then singleton of chord. Is it xy or yx? It's xy, right? But I gotta go up so high to find it. xy. Chord xy. And then if we get toke I already forgot what it's called. Toke num? Toke int. Of I, we're going to tell s yes. S singleton of now we need the locations which this thing lives at. Let's write a little deflate function that takes a measured token and a, or measured, no, I'll make it local to this, of deflate the integer and the width, I guess. And then we'll just return pure of, I changed my mind about putting the x prime there, by the way. Pure of x plus width. So we'll skip over that many characters, regardless of whether we wrote anything. So we just have to write the deflate function now, right? And I mean, we only need it in this one place, so really it should just be like a value, right? Like deflated. It doesn't need any arguments. They're all in scope already. It's like do. When in doubt, always start with a do. Is that correct? No. We need to return a located chords I and chords. Now we can write do, or s dot from list of do. Like, I kind of dx from 0 to width minus 1, right? And then just pure of coord x plus dx y? Like, right? Doesn't that kind of make sense? We are returning a located object with the following coordinates and an integer I. The coordinates are starting at the position x we've been given, going up to width minus 1 elements, the coordinate x plus dx, and y for the, like, that makes sense. Is this type check? No. Okay, good, sort of. Okay, couldn't match. What's wrong? Show me the first error. In the first argument of traverse, okay, so all these types are, it's finally complaining about the types. I was trying to ask you for help earlier. Okay, this looks like a problem. It expected a set of coordinates, and I gave it a set of functions from int to coordinate. Well, I certainly didn't mean to do that. Where is that happening? Located coords. That's a function, huh? Doesn't look like a function. Eh? Coords is a set of functions somehow. And here, you're saying that x plus dx oh, coord doesn't take a tuple. It takes 2 arguments. Okay, how many of my type errors did this fix? 2 out of 3? Okay, not bad. This is looking really close, right? What's the problem? You couldn't match... These types look very similar. I guess this is the same problem sort of as before. I'm saying you expected a set of located ints and a map from coord to symbol. But for some reason, I gave you a set of located ints and then a function from something to map of coord and that thing. Ah, of course. I didn't put a value in here. It needs a symbol of S. Closer. Getting closer. Couldn't match char. What's the type of symbol? Symbol contains a char. So I said a singleton. So what? M singleton. You expected... Oh. A tokesim already contains a symbol, not a char. So I should just put S here. Aha, okay. Now... this is a little bit of a lot to have written without without having tested anything. I'm a little reluctant to just like run it, but I guess we'll see what happens. Let's do this, a really simple thing. Let's say collate a list containing just a single thing, equal tilde line of 5. Sure, equal tilde might not match, I guess. Oh my god. Well, I'll want map maybe eventually, so let's just import that. Data maybe, import data maybe, map maybe. Okay, cool. So it said there are no symbols, and at 0, 0, the number 5 exists. Now it gets exciting. Let's try 51. Oh, look at this. It's saying at 0, 0 and 1, 0, the number 51 exists. And so if I said ... star 87, it says, okay, sure. At 0, 0 and 1, 0, we have 51. And at 5, 0 to 6, 0, we have 87. And also there's a symbol, star, at 4, 0. Oh, this is beautiful. So let's just try making sure it works for multiple lines, and then we'll be thrilled. Like 8. X0, Y0, X1, Y0. And then also at chord X0, Y1, there's an 8. Perfect. It's a miracle. When it finally compiled, it was actually correct. But this is not a thing of beauty, I would argue. Are there any easy cleanups we can do? I don't know. You can't really just grab a chunk of this and extract it because it's depending on closed over locals like Y and X. So I just have a thing with functions called go and loop. Ugh. I think arguably it would be better to call this row, for example, and R there. Like, does this still compile, or did I mess something else up? Yeah, that still looks good. Okay. So, and then this loop, I can say column. Well, no. It's not really a column, though, right? Call it, I don't know, include or something? I think my indentation was messed up earlier. I think this is the more correct indentation. No, wait, something went wrong. These pairs shouldn't line up. This one should be over here. Okay. So we have row, which calls include. Oh, wait. Don't I need another where here? Fold them include. Yeah, include needs to reference. How did I lose the where somehow? This is more correct. Well, it's the only indentation that's actually correct, not just like more correct. Okay, parse error on where. What did I mess up? Where has to be even further inside of row, I think, because it needs y. Oh, fuck, what have I done? I had something that worked. I should have committed it. What is happening? What did I mess up? Probable cause. Row is applied to too many arguments. It doesn't look that way to me. Wait a minute. Include has too many arguments. What happened? Doesn't it? It has 3 arguments. It should only have 2. What happened? Oh, column and X are like the same? Okay. Well, let's never touch this function again. I'm not going to go so far as to put up warning signs, but I should stop fucking it up. Okay, great. So now our input, I think, like this, really is the type that our input should have, right? Type input is this. And let's go put that input a bit higher. And we need to write our little prepare function here that turns a string into an input. But it's not that complicated now that we have collate, right? It's collate map maybe of equal tilde line lines? I think. Would you say that this type checks? It does. I'm not using sum, writer, or writer. I guess that's true. If I'm only using tell, I don't need any of this other stuff. And writer is kind of getting implicitly created by the call to tell, or and exec writer. Sure. Okay, that's cute. So if I go back and I look, I called collate.map maybe equal tilde line. This is now just prepare, right? Nope. Because actually, it was only expecting a string. But this works now. So I think we can sort of comfortably, at last, commit the parser. J3 And having written the parser, like part 1 is almost over because we've parsed to a data type that is pretty easy, I think, to get the information we need from. So we're supposed to return an int. Part 1 of nums sims is... What am I supposed to do? Add up all the ones that are adjacent to a number? The sum of all the things that are adjacent to a symbol. Sum... I guess I'll use map maybe again? Over nums? Let go of... I have is part. I don't know. I think part, like, is part, that feels more Java. I feel like in Haskell, just calling it like part, you know. Well, no, we have is digit, right? Like, I guess is part is fine. Oh, but it's not returning a Boolean. It's returning the actual part number. Part of located... Ooh, what's the type of map, maybe? It actually takes lists. But I have a set, of course. I mean, I can convert the set to a list if I want. Do I have data set open somewhere? I don't. So in data set, obviously we can write fold, fold, fold. This isn't really... I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just two lists, basically, right? But, well, shouldn't there be a function that takes a foldable and... whatever. Okay, I guess we'll do it this way. So we're running a function over nums. That function is converted to a list, map maybe to get out the part number of each item, and then add up the results. So located towards and n if s, I mean, I assume I can say intersect or something. That's not quite what I want. Because I don't... Actually, does data map have a way to get out a set of the keys? It might. Conversion, elms, keys, no. Oh, keys set. Nice. That's exactly what I want. So I guess what I can do is say simlocks is m.keys set of sims if intersect, I mean, we're doing some wasted work here, but it's fine. Is it called intersect or intersection? It's called intersection of the sims, simlocks, and fold map neighbors of chords. well, I just... Intersection is returning a set, and I want to know, like, is that empty? So if the intersection of the symbol locations and the neighborhood of the coordinates of the number is empty, then it's nothing. Otherwise, it's just the part number. So what do we think? Do we think this is going to compile and run correctly? S.empty. Oh, that probably is a set. It's probably called S.null. Yeah, and, you know, fair point. I'm not using sim. Let's go ahead and erase that from the import list. Should have done that before committing, I guess. Stack run, baby. It's a number. Okay, I'll take it. It's the right answer. Oh, what a relief. If it was wrong, I don't know what I would have done. So let's do a little git maintenance before we move on to part 2. First of all, I want to just take this and add it to the previous commit. Right, because that was the parser commit. Yeah, git commit and then no edit. Cool. Day 3, part 1, easy. And that's all the git maintenance is. We wrote part 1. Let's look at part 2. The engineer finds the missing part and installs it in the engine. As the engine springs to life, you jump in the closest gondola, finally ready to ascend to the water source. You don't seem to be going very fast, though. Maybe something's still wrong? Fortunately, the gondola has a phone labeled help, so you pick it up and the engineer answers. Before you can explain the situation, she suggests that you look out the window. There stands the engineer, holding a phone in one hand and waving with the other. You're going so slowly that you haven't even left the station. You exit the gondola. A missing part wasn't the only issue. One of the gears in the engine is wrong. A gear is any star symbol adjacent to exactly 2 part numbers. Its gear ratio is the result of multiplying those 2 numbers together. This time, you need to find the gear ratio of every gear and add them all up so that the engineer can figure out which gear needs to be replaced. Okay, this is a little bit unpleasant because we didn't make it easy to look up the things adjacent to symbols. Right? I can't look up in my current data structure from a coordinate what number is there. But we could still do, like, you know, an n squared operation over all of the, like, right? We could, for each gear, we could iterate over all the numbers in the input and ask how many of you share a neighborhood with this gear. And then if the number is 2, then we could multiply them together or add them together. Or what am I supposed to do? Multiply? Multiply. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is sort of not an ideal way to have written part 1 if this is what part 2 is going to be. I hoped it would be something more like look up the numbers and find symbols adjacent that are of this type, and then do something with them, all the adjacent symbols. But I guess it's not so much of a surprise that it wants us to go the opposite direction as part 1 did. So our input, we have a set of located ints and a map from coordinate to symbol. And we can't just like turn this set of located int into a map from coordinate to int, because the same int is at multiple positions, and we need to actually know that we only match, like, we're only allowed to look to be adjacent to the same int once. If you happen to be like diagonally adjacent to it and orthogonally adjacent to it, that doesn't count as being adjacent to 2 numbers. Well, fine. This also has to return int, and it takes nums and sims. Is sum dot map maybe gear ratio of m dot assocs over sims, I guess, where gear ratio of location and symbol star is something. Gear ratio of anything else is nothing. It's just something, I guess. Well, no, it could be... It could still be nothing, because it might not be adjacent to exactly 2 numbers, right? So I guess we want to do a case analysis here. Case... filter adjacent of nums prime. Nums prime is s.toList of nums, because it turns out I don't actually want a set at all here. Same thing I had here, basically, I guess, except I was iterating over nums, and so it made sense. I don't know. This is fine. So case filter adjacent nums of... if there's x and y, it's just something, and otherwise it's nothing. Adjacent of needs to actually be inside of gear ratio, so it can refer to location. Located, is that what we're calling this thing? Yes. Chords n is whether s.member, what is the type of s member? Takes the element and then the set. S member lock of fold map neighbors over chords. So if the location of the gear is a member of the neighbors of the coordinates of the number, then the two are adjacent. I think that makes sense. Yeah, we'll just pattern match there rather than do some weird thing, I guess. What do you think? Any chance this compiles? Yeah. Ooh, not using n. Is that okay? Yeah, we don't care what number it is when we are checking whether it's adjacent to something. Stack run? It's a number. And it's a lot bigger than the previous number, which is what we expect because we're multiplying together pairs of the numbers that went into this. So let's give it a try. That's the right answer. Okay. Good. So, like, part 2 ended up not being that bad after all. It's not efficient or anything, but you know, we had the data that we needed at hand. One way we could have been more efficient would be like to pre-process the list of numbers or the set of numbers to just fold map neighbors over each of them once. In fact, that's a pretty easy fix, isn't it? We're already creating nums prime, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah? Stack run? Nope. Nums. Oh, the problem is now I'm not storing the number anymore. Is located a functor? It is. But that's not what I want to do, actually. I want to map in this part. All right, let's leave well enough alone. We could improve that, but it's perfectly fast enough for Advent of Code on a 140 by 140 grid. Okay, git add p. Yep. Day 3, part 2. And I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.